I now give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation.
Mr. President, we're grateful to Assistant Secretary General Bintu Keita for a detailed briefing on the situation in Darfur and her personal views on her recent trip to Sudan. We share the views expressed by colleagues on the situation in Darfur. We note that overall the situation has been stable in the region. We welcome the fact that there have been no reports for quite a while of large-scale fighting, and intercommunal conflicts have been reduced to almost nothing. We welcome the fact that the government is successfully carrying out measures to collect weapons from the population. The Sudanese government is doing quite a lot to normalize the situation in Darfur. We note the constructive role of Khartoum in dealing with regional issues, including its contribution to promoting the South Sudanese peace process. It's hard also not to single out the personal efforts of Sudan, and specifically President Omar Bashir in the Central African Republic as part of the African Peace Initiative that has led to the signature of the Central African Republic peace agreement. Now also I would like to note that some of our colleagues have once again used today's meeting devoted to Sudan to criticize the government of Sudan with respect to episodes that have nothing to do with Darfur. We believe this tactic is unacceptable. Looking at assessing the prospects of UNAMID should only be done by examining the situation in Darfur. We should not discuss issues related to the internal situation in Sudan. Regarding Darfur, we believe that given the positive momentum in the region, it's important to continue the drawdown of the military component of UNAMID in accordance with the resolution 2429. We also share the view that to avoid a recurrence of the conflict, it's important to avoid a vacuum of power in the region and to stress, put the stress on building capacity of state institutions in Darfur. We believe that that is the goal of the transition concept of the functioning of UNAMID that was approved in the resolution. Its purpose is to ensure that that the peace-building phase of the process begin. We call on donors to live up to the commitments that they undertook at the Cairo and Doha conferences in 2010 and 2013. We believe that the easing of the unilateral sanctions against Sudan would also contribute to normalizing the socioeconomic situation in Sudan as a whole, and also contribute to resolving peace-building efforts and security in Darfur. We also we are satisfied that almost all the provisions of the Doha document for peace in Darfur, signed in 2011, have been implemented. We regret the fact that the intransigent armed opposition, although it has lost its presence on the ground, continues to try to undermine the situation and stoke violence in the region. It's well known that the Darfur peace process is stalemated because of the unconstructive negotiating position of the Sudanese Liberation Army Abdul Wahid. It's sad that the Secretariat continues to use false equivalence by making appeals to both sides and not acknowledge that. We are convinced that flirting with with those who are against compromise will not contribute to the peace process. We also think that external sponsors of the Sudanese opposition should not encourage holding meetings of the intransigent opposition in their capitals, and they should encourage their charges to be more realistic. We note that on the 6th of December, through the mediation of the African Union, there was a pre-negotiation agreement signed. Unfortunately, it didn't last long. We believe that its signature is another concession to the radicals in the opposition by the government. We believe that counter concessions are required. If Abdel Wahid Noor does not fulfill the demands of the African Union of unconditionally taking part in the negotiating process, we should consider the possibility of introducing sanctions under this in the Security Council. We believe that shaping the necessary conditions in Darfur makes it possible to move towards the full exit of the mission in accordance with the time frame contained in Resolution 2429, that is by the end of 2020. Thank you very much.
Doy las gracias al representante.
I thank the representative of the